read one page from each of three sections of my book. The first one is the memoir of my life in the peace movement. September 5th, 1995. When the earth plates grind and slide, the best place to feel it is lying on a thin foam pad in a two-person tent under California live oaks and fragrant pines. The Press Democrat pronounced the 4.8 quake epicenter, Healdsburg, as moderate, and the breakfast chatter among the campers turned to jokes. Did the earth move for you too? Scanning the newspaper below the fold, I felt a seismic shift within me. At bottom right front page was his picture. Glasses perched on disheveled gray hair, lips parted in argument. The headline, Radical Lawyer William M. Kunstler, dead of heart failure at age 76. Images of another September 27 years before rushed back. A group of war protesters conducted a raid on Milwaukee's Selective Service headquarters, seized and burned the draft files of thousands of men targeted for the Army. The notorious New York attorney came to town to represent these activists, the Milwaukee 14. Among them were 3 Jesuit priests, 2 Christian brothers, a Protestant minister, and an Irish immigrant who founded Casa Maria, a Catholic worker hospitality house next door to where I'd come to live with other students and writers. The residents in Casa and the people in my community house were all committed to nonviolent civil disobedience based on our interpretation of the Gospels. Bill Kunstler's whirlwind spun me. When his gravelly voice boomed over our tiny meeting rooms, people were moved by his impassioned rhetoric, moved from moral conviction to acts of conscience that sometimes led to jail. I was full of hero worship then, and I'm still awed when I think of how his amber eyes in this newsprint photo, only a mass of muddy dots, reached into my naive life and took me with a single glance. I visualize clearly my third-floor bedroom in the 40s built house on 21st Street, not far from Marquette University. My headboard with its curves and vertical bars is positioned against the window at the peak of the eaves. I am lying back on the white chenille bedspread, wearing the sleeveless red outfit that confirmed my identity in the front page newspaper photo of my near arrest. Bill lifts my skirt above my waist and lays his cheek on my belly. For some moments, he strokes the white cotton of my panties, then hooking 2 fingers under the waistband, slips the garment down and off as easily as a magician pulls a string of scarves from a teacup. One obituary called Kunstler a defender of the despised, who was either an egotist whose political sympathies bordered on the promiscuous, or a charismatic champion of human rights. He may have been both. The embodiment of the intense upheaval of the era with its paradoxes, shocks, and aftershocks. Thanks. You know, since yesterday was Veterans Day, I decided to read this poem that has an epigraph from Pete Seeger. Gone for soldiers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? War wrecked the men of my generation and ravaged us all. 58,000 names on a black marble wall. Soldier's heart is another older name for shell shock, post-traumatic stress. The heart balks at self-destruction. Night after night, bomb blasts rock their beds. Want some boom boom, mister? Boom boom, my sister? Like the gardens of Da Nang, meters deep with Agent Orange, I absorb the residue. Lovers missing, wounded, and fatigued from battle, unable to love as they could. Will another woman 30 years from now ask where all the men have gone? The veteran may return alive, but smelling death in my hair has forgotten how to kiss. Now, 18 suicides a day on average of veterans, and there are 830,000 vets who are now waiting for their disability claims, sometimes up to a year. Okay, and this is the beginning of one of the essays. There are 7 essays in the last part of the book, and I'm reading this by request from Jennie. It's called A Face of Ecstasy. The invitation came via email, poking up from alerts and petitions I received, up to 50 a day, during the 2003 Iraq-America crisis. The editors of a much-loved erotica journal, along with the founder of the Bay Area's most famous adult toy store, were looking for people willing to be filmed in facial close-up only during sexual arousal. Well, after weeks of rage about the war and what was being perpetrated in my name, here was a daring diversion. And what did I have to lose? I had no boss to fire me, no spouse who might have objected. My parents passed away in 1995, and my remaining relatives live on the other side of the country. My adult daughter both adores me and tolerates my adventures, so that left only my ex. I seriously doubted he'd ever discover what I'd done. He's gone over to Jesus. Several years ago at the Wine Country Film Festival, I saw a short feature consisting entirely of faces of people at the moment of orgasm. It contained no vocals, just a musical soundtrack and the visuals of these contorted, blissful, and utterly vulnerable faces. Although I can't remember the name of the movie or find it in the film festival archives, it was a huge audience hit, an expose of the highest order. Because that kind of radical art appeals to me, I decided to swallow my fear and sign on to reveal my own ecstatic face to the world. Saturday morning dawns clear and sunny. I listen to my favorite sensual music as I drive to the city. At this stage of my life, I'm pretty free of shame, but not free of performance anxiety. How will I compare to the other female participants whom I imagine to be wildly multi-orgasmic? How wrinkled or shiny will my face look on film? Will I climax in a reasonable amount of time? Will I feel free to move and breathe the way I need to? The director had asked me to keep my eyes open during my orgasm. Would I be able to do it? I take it as a good sign that I easily find a parking place and to visit Darrell and McAllister. Inhaling deeply, I ring the bell, then climb the stairs. Thank you.
How was that for an ending?
It's only the beginning.
Any questions for Jennie? And then? I guess everybody's flabbergasted. It was fun hearing that for the second time. I got more out of it even the second time.
I just wanted to know.
Did you keep your eyes open?
I did.
Elspeth?
The film didn't get made, that's what I
The film got made, and I have copies. I didn't bring one, but I do have them for sale.
What did you think of the film?
Is there music? That's what somebody wants to.
You know, there was really a diversity of people, and I found it fascinating because, there were so many different reasons, but I felt like just watching the film, I got to know a lot of different personalities and different motivations that people had. There was a disabled person, there was a transsexual, there were black, white, young, old. It was really an amazing diversity. And the one thing that it seemed that people had in common was how much they changed after, because there was a before and after interview, and the people looked entirely transformed in the second interview. It was really amazing. And even the person who interviewed me said, "You look so much younger now." So maybe that's where the secret to the fountain of youth.
Okay, we have one last question.
That was my question, which was, well, how did you feel about seeing yourself and the after?
I thought I looked like my grandmother, you know.
Well, then you didn't think you looked better.
Well, she was quite beautiful.
Okay, then it works.
Thank you.
Thank you,